Hello, thank you for being here. My name is Shannon and this is Lavender Sky. In my videos, I talk a little bit about well-being, journaling, and reading, and how these things come together for me, and maybe for you too. I'm setting up my 2026 reading journal. Thank you so much for joining me for this one. I hope you enjoy it and maybe find some inspiration for your own reading life. This is an Archer and Olive journal. I got this at the start of last year for my first ever reading journal. It's an 8x8 inch dot grid notebook. I really like the size for my style of setups. As you can see, I've got quite a few pages left, so I'll be continuing to use this for my 2026 reading journal too. Because I'm not starting with a new journal, I need to make sure that I have enough pages left to work with until the end of the current year. I'm aiming to finish just another 2 books in December, and then I'm leaving a few pages also for the end of the year stats wrap up. I might have a quick squiz through that in January if you're interested in seeing that monthly setup for my reading pages. Let me know if that's something you're keen to see. I also wanted to say thank you so much to everyone who watched, liked, subscribed, or commented on my last video. That was actually my first ever YouTube video. And I know it wasn't perfect, and there are definitely tweaks I will make as I learn and grow with putting this kind of content together, but you've all been really so lovely, and I just wanted to say thank you all so much for allowing me to be brave and put this out there in the world. The sticker pack that I'm using to set up my 2026 reading journal is from Paper Trail Plans. This is their forage set. So there's lots of autumnal tones and themes and images. I chose this because I really loved the cozy vibe of it, and I feel like there are enough stickers in this pack to get me through what I want to set up without running out. I've also pulled a few washi tapes from my collection. A few of these are from Journal Say, so I'm trying to use up what I have left. I've grabbed a couple of colours from my Born colour markers set. These are also just a few bits of paper and doilies that I'm going to use to add some background and layers. And yeah, that's everything I'll be using today. I'll leave a link below to Paper Trail Plans if you want to check out their website and their really wonderful sticker packs there. Okay, now because I'm actually setting up a new journal in the middle of a book, I have the benefit of making this really cool, well, I thought cool, kind of like door cover page. So I've just taken a couple of pages and folded them inwards in half so that they fold out, and in that fold out I'll have my book log tracker. And then the cover page is going to be surrounded by book covers, so the book covers of what I've read throughout the year. And I'm really hoping the vision comes to life by the end of the year of having this beautiful fold out page in the middle with all my book covers surrounding it. A really good impression, I think, for a book journal cover page. For me, reading is a wonderful way that I can dedicate time for myself, and that's good for my well-being. Books can teach us so much about pretty much everything: stories of overcoming adversity or finding your resilience, or feeling small and finding that you do have strength is something I think we can all relate to. Books can help us learn and grow within ourselves. Narrative therapy is actually a technique or like a therapeutic approach in like the counseling space where we think of ourselves and our life as the story that we tell ourselves. Sometimes people tell their life stories as like a series of events that happen to them, a series of unfortunate events, dare I say, but without their own involvement or their own like locus of control. Sometimes reframing your story, making yourself the main character in your own story, can be a healing or helpful way to help you take charge of your life. And I think that's the lesson that I've learned through reading, is that the way that you talk about yourself, the way that you position things that are happening in your life can have a huge impact on how you navigate those challenges. This little doodad here, this is the Pooley print. So my partner got this for me a couple of years ago. It's just a little black and white printer. Mainly I use it for headings. So I'm going to use it to print out my 2026 reading journal heading, just because I couldn't really be bothered with writing any script or calligraphy. And this has a few options for different like text styles, which I'm going through now and seeing if I'm finding anything that I really like. So as I'm setting this up, I guess I wanted to chat a little bit about mental health and reading. So by day, I am a counsellor slash therapist. That term is used kind of interchangeably in Australia. I work with my clients to support their mental health through challenges, building resilience, navigating growth together, or just very simply maintaining their tranquility or peace of mind in life. By night, or sometimes in any spare minute I have, I work on my own little crafts and hobbies to maintain my own well-being. And for me, reading is a huge part of my personal life and my happiness. When I was younger, like primary or high school age, I was definitely that kid who was always reading. You could always catch me in the library during lunch breaks, at school, or just in my bedroom at home with my nose in a book. I realize now that sounds like very uncool. And to be fair, I wasn't the coolest kid at school, and that's okay now, I think. I'm much more at peace with that now than I was at the time. So, yeah, I guess that's on growth. Go me. But I really love the escape into like a fantasy land and getting to know characters like close friends. I loved reading about overcoming struggles, perseverance, and justice. Now that I say that out loud, it's probably why I do the work that I do now, maybe. Who knows? Anyway, it's been literally years since I've picked up a book or felt like I had any time or motivation to read anything. Then, classic me, I started watching YouTube videos of other reading journal creators, and I found that was really inspiring to me to have like a reason to read or just a way to record books I've read and what I thought about them. So, yeah, I just decided one day in March 2025 that I was just going to start reading again. I think I was at the beach with my partner. I downloaded the Libby app. I messaged my mum to get my old childhood library card number so that I could access Libby. And I picked an audiobook and popped my headphones in and started listening right then and there. Some random March afternoon on a beach. And from there, it really just snowballed into the passion I used to have for reading and immersing myself in a fictional world of story. But also, because it has been so long since I've picked up a book, I found now that I didn't really know what I liked reading about anymore. When I was a kid, it was just like all high fantasy, like Lord of the Rings, Narnia, Aragon, authors like Wilbur Smith, or sometimes thrillers. My mum had a lot of Dean Koontz books in her study, Odd Thomas and stuff like that. And I don't know, I feel like my reading interests have changed a bit now that I'm older. I think in 2025 I just read one fantasy book and I didn't super love it. Maybe it was just the book, maybe it's the genre, I don't know. I'll have to try. So in my reading journal this year, I'm building in some challenges kind of to help me branch out and find what I like again. Either way, I'm just really excited to be reading again. I also don't mind reading like an autobiography or a memoir sometimes too. Again, maybe that's just the counselor in me, but I just feel like seemingly ordinary people lead really extraordinary lives or go through some incredible challenges. I like obviously supporting people and overcoming their own challenges, and I really love reading a good book about someone's life story. People are just really interesting, hey? Let me know if you can recommend anything based on a true story, or memoirs, or autobiographies. Put them down in the chat and I will absolutely check them out. Oh, and now we're being visited by my black cat, Jumi. She's one of three, not one of three black cats, just one of three cats. And I'm so sorry, she looks so filthy. She's probably just come in from outside at the back. We have a very small enclosed courtyard in our rental. And yeah, it's just really sandy here in Perth. So she's probably just covered in sand and dirt from rolling around on the hot concrete. You know what black cars are like, they're hard to keep clean. Okay, this page, I know it looks a little whack, And I really smudged up the bottom of it because I didn't realize how long it took these markers to dry on this paper. But this was kind of inspired by the sticker pack, and I'm calling this page my branching out page. Ba-bum. But I've got 3 main branches with 3 leaves on each for things I want to try and read more of this year. So when I finish a book that's in that kind of category, I'll come back to this page, write the name of that book in that leaf, and color that in. I'm hoping to have a very full, lush tree by the end of it. The categories that I'm using for each branch is autobiographies, classics, and Gothic horror. These are another 2 spreads I'm hoping will help me expand my reading world. So here I'm setting up the A to Z challenge. So this is just very simply reading a book title or author name that starts with a letter in the alphabet. I did this last year as well, and I didn't quite make it from A to Z, but I felt that it was really inspiring to help me reach for something that wasn't just, same old story title or very common author names. So just a nice way to motivate you or inspire you to try something you wouldn't normally reach for. The page on the left will be for the buzzword reading challenge. Again, this was something I did last year and was really fun to kind of motivate or inspire me to find books with specific words in the titles or themes. So I don't know what the prompts are for the 2026 buzzword reading challenge, so I've left the prompts blank, but I have set this page up. If I don't end up doing the buzzword reading challenge, I'll just make this page the Read the Rainbow challenge. So it's still set up the same, but depends on what I use it for. This is another classic spread that you'll find in most reading journal setups, I think, the book bingo. The way that I'm setting up this bingo is kind of the same that I set up my bingo page in my personal reading journal. So on one page, I'll have the bingo board with the box codes BINGO 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and their assignments will be on the left page with the prompt that fulfills it. And then I'm covering up the grid allocation, so when I fulfill that prompt, I get to uncover that allocation, color in the box that it refers to, and see if I get bingo that way. So it's a nice anti-cheat bingo card. I am, however, very intentionally setting the middle box, which is grid allocation N3, to be the prompt of reading my reading goal, which will be 30 books this year. All the rest will just be random assignments with, I don't know, pretty random prompts. Let me know if you want to know what I've chosen for my prompts this year. Some of them are a mix of prompts that I didn't quite fulfill last year. Like, I think a book about witches was one of them, a book published in the year I was born, an author with my initials, so just like random stuff like that. But again, a little bit silly, fun, and motivating. I find most of my books on free apps. I'm intentionally staying away from things like Amazon and Audible. Call it part of that social justice reader in me from when I was a kid. But it just doesn't feel good to me to give my time, my resources, or my energy to billionaires at the end of the day. And there are so many amazing free or crowdsourced alternatives for me to use. I mentioned Libby earlier. I actually used my old library card, like I said, that Mum still had stored away from me to access the Queensland Library, and that's been amazing. I also have Hoopla and BorrowBox downloaded. I've been using Hoopla a lot lately, and I just find it's really nice to flick between like a few different platforms. If I can't find a book I'm looking for on one platform, the other might usually have it. And if I can't find a specific book anywhere, then it's fine. I'll just read something else. It's not that serious for me. If I really, really want it, I will go and buy a physical book. But I'm really enjoying audiobooks at the moment. So yeah, it's so fine. I also know, just from what I've seen or heard on like Book Talk or YouTube, that a lot of people like to use Goodreads to track their reading, which I think is really amazing. Tracking your reading stats is super helpful and super fun to look at. But I've also recently heard about an amazing alternative that's run by just a couple of book enthusiasts that have developed their own app. It's called Pagebound. Their tagline is think if Goodreads and Reddit had a baby. I love that. So if you want to check that out and maybe stop using Amazon/Bezos owned products, I would 100% recommend checking them out. I've popped a link in the video description. These are the last 2 pages in my reading journal setup. Here I have my book bracket, so it might look a little bit different than other book bracket setups. Forgive me, I will explain it. So across the top and bottom, I have January through to December, and I'm organizing these into quarters rather than just going month against month. So quarter 1, for example, will be my favorite book from January, favorite book from Feb, favorite book from March. They will all kind of be weighed against each other. I'll pick one to advance to the quarter 1 finalist. Then at the end of the year, I have to pick between the quarter 1 finalist, the quarter 3 finalist, the quarter 2 finalist versus the quarter 4 finalist. Each of those will advance to the semi-finalist, and then it's just either of those 2 books is going to be book of the year. So I've written helpful arrows to help guide that kind of process. I just liked the neatness of this ending in 2 books for the semi-finalist rather than 3 books for a semi-finalist at the end of the year. Easy, right? So simple. And then the page on the left here This is just going to be a very simple favorite quotes page. So I saw this from another book journal creator. It might have been Rhymy added a quotes page to her journal that I saw and thought, yeah, I'm gonna do that. But this is just very simple. There's no boxes, there's no real setup here. I'm just decorating the page to make it look really pretty, and then I'm just gonna add a title from my Pooly print that says quotes, and just, yeah, have some space to freehand write in some favorite quotes that come to mind. And with that, we have finished my 2026 reading journal setup. I hope you like it. I really love it. Let me know what your favorite page is, what your favorite setup is. I would love to hear your book recommendations. Drop them in the chat below. And yeah, let me know if this inspires you to do more reading in your own life. Maybe this year you'll set up your own reading journal. I also feel like for me, creating these journal spreads and pages is great for my own mental health. I usually pop on an audiobook while I'm doing this, and I just feel that this scratches that creative itch, you know? Like I get to make something, do something, write about something that is different from what I do in my normal, like, professional life. And I really enjoy it, and I'm really happy with how some of these pages came together. I'm less happy with how other pages came together. I'm looking at you branching out page. That smudging really irritates me. But it's kind of just a practice in accepting what is and letting go of perfectionism. I'm not judging myself on those imperfections, so I'm trying not to let it bother me if someone else might judge me on those imperfections. Thanks again for joining me today. I hope you enjoy the rest of your day or night, and I'll see you again in the next one. Bye.